So when you talk about technical things, what would you say is top three things any lighting artist that are listening, or any person doing lighting? Because we are not really covering just lighting artists, we're also covering people who are 3D artists who wants to present the portfolio better, right? Because lighting is important no matter what at this stage. So if you know some lighting, you already have an upper hand against other people who don't, right? So top three things that you think is important from a technical point of view, and top three things from artistic point of view. I give you an hour.
Okay, for the lighting part, the first thing I see is knowing how much costs each light. Like a rectangle light, a spotlight, a point light, skylight, directional light. Like what costs more, and if, for example, you have to remove a shadow from a light, if you know how to counter that, like if you know how to place your light in a way that you can't see very much, you remove the shadow, you dial back the intensity, or you dial back the shadow quality, that will help you to produce better images, but not being frustrated once again. After that, knowing how to produce your own blueprints, or what's the name of it? Light functions. It's called light functions in Unreal Engine, or blueprints. It will help you a lot to create what you need to achieve, because not depending on another department is very satisfying. Yeah, there will always be sometimes when you have to go to the technical artist or to the VFX artist to help you. Like, for example, on Twin Mirror, I had to ask the VFX artist to help me on producing the fog sheet card, etc. But it's something right now I want to be able to do by myself, because it's something that you can achieve more stuff and have your own. If you have a vision of what you want to do in your mind, it's always more difficult to explain it to another person than do it yourself. So if you know how to do it yourself, you will be way more satisfied with what you produce. And on third, I don't see any third thing to know on the technical part. Maybe it will.
So you said optimization or light function. That was the two main.
Yeah, optimization, light functions, and.
So let's dig a little bit of optimization then, because as you know, when you work at the studio versus doing things at home, there's a difference when you look at the profiler to optimize versus actually having the build and looking at the Xbox Pix or whatever what was called, right? But that affects your time as well, right? If you're not that many lighting artists, you spending time to create the build, I am assuming, takes a time at your studio as well. Or do you actually sit down and wait for an hour or two to make the build and then you play it? How does it work for you?
It depends. Like if you're talking about building the lighting, like building the shadow maps, etc., building the baked lighting, there was sometimes that we had to just wait, especially toward the end of the production, where we needed to build in high, then production, to see the results and control everything. But we have a server at Dontnod that is building the light every night. So if it was urgent, we would build it in preview or medium quality. And if it could wait the next day, and most of the time it could wait for the next day, we just let the server build the light for ourselves. And every time how can I say that? Every time I could see something that could be optimized a bit more, I would do it. But knowing your, like I said, knowing your budget would help you a lot, because there is the texture budget. Like building the light maps takes a lot of memory on your GPU, on your console. So another part of the optimization is knowing how to find a ratio between visual quality of your baked lighting and time and memory size. Because for example, on Premiere, I had, let's say, a budget of 100 because I can't tell the exact numbers. If I wanted to respect the 100% budget, I had to dial and find all the light map sizes. And my way to work and how I explain to my students, it's like you put a cube of 1 meter by 1 meter on Unreal Engine. You set your light map size, let's say 64 pixel by 64 pixel on the light map shadow on the light map size, and respect it on all of your scene. And this will help you keeping your budget under control.
That was optimization, right? And build time. So, because I know, I remember at Ubisoft, it took like 5 hours to build the game to play on Xbox Dev Kit, to test it, to then check the optimization, and that was like a lot of time. And
we had this kind of problem too. Like, it was not 5 hours, but more like 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, and you just had to sit there. Or most of the time, what I did was launching the build creation on another computer, a computer that wasn't used, and I went to do other things on the game, closing other tasks, etc. Because waiting 1 hour and a half to play the game is pretty long. Or sometimes I would just wait for the next day because the server was building builds of the game every night, as well as building lighting. So most of the time, we'll just tell myself, okay, I will see that tomorrow, and like right now I have other things to do on the game. So waiting for the builds is terrible.
I mean, we have even though it's a very simple game we work out now here in London, in the UK, it's still very time consuming to build. We also use Unity. We're using Unity, so privately I use for freelancing for Unreal, but we're using Unity, and it has a very complex way of building, so it takes a lot of time. So I don't do my optimization directly in the build. I have to pass it on. I get report back, and then I have a look at it. But I mean, so far I don't have a problem, because as you say, I am aware of what I'm doing in terms of cost. I know the expenses, except this one scene that was a party scene, so it was like 40 different lights. The frame rate dropped to 15, so that was a different thing. So I got the technical artist came back, dude, you're killing the Xbox build. You can't submit this. I was like, oops. So yeah, for sure. It's definitely a big deal knowing the technical things. So would you say it's so you said the technical things so far optimization, and you said the light functions, which is the ability to do like flickering lights or so on and so forth. That's good. So that kind of involves Blueprint then a little bit, right? Knowing your way around that. I don't know how to do the fog sheet, so good job on that if you know how to do that from scratch.
It's pretty time-consuming things for all the VFX artists that help us to produce it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is repetition, right? Because a lot of these technical things requires you to remember a lot of the technical things, like the blueprint, the codes. So if you don't do it a lot every day, at least for me, I tend to forget it. So I can do it like once, then forget it, because it's like a year later I might be like someone ask me, and how did you do that? I'm like, I did this. How do you do it? Well, don't know. Go watch this YouTube tutorial. So it's definitely a challenge.